Everybody, my name is David. I'm a KOK-PLAY Frontier from the Genesis Group. Today I'm going to give you guys some pretty legitimate reasons why it's a good idea to have some investments into cryptocurrencies like KOK-PLAY. Now, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying why it would be a good idea, all right? Because what's going on around in the world. So let's start out with in Canada. You have some truckers over there on a freedom convoy, and they were protesting all the restrictions that the Canadian government imposed on their citizens. And so their Prime Minister Justin Trudeau froze their bank accounts. He didn't just freeze the bank accounts of truckers or the truckers that they can get their names and informations on, but even the people who donated money to support these truckers, right? I think it's like even if you donate even $10, your bank account was frozen. And so you have people who couldn't even buy groceries or maybe pay bills or whatever the case is because their bank accounts were frozen. They couldn't do anything. Okay. Now, another situation is, let's look over here. You have a lot of countries where they put sanctions on Russian banks. And so if you're a Russian citizen, well, you just took a big hit. You know, everyone's probably over there. There were probably, if you're a Russian citizen and you have some financial education, you're going to go to the bank and try to buy other currencies with the current, with, you know, the ruble that you have, the Russian currency. However, you're stuck, okay? And people who try to do bank runs probably can't even do bank runs. And what the key point is when you're a citizen, remember, citizens don't start wars. Politicians start wars. Typically, you can even say old politicians start wars, but rather, it doesn't matter, old or young. Citizens don't start wars. And so what you can learn from Russian citizens is you can be against the war, you can think it was a bad idea, or you didn't want nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what your government thinks and what they do. And depending on what they do, you're going to suffer the consequence. Right? And once again, you know, you're going to have people who will say, well, Russia put up their red line. You know, past history tells when Russia went to Crimea, when Russia went into Georgia, that, you know, NATO, Biden, whatever, they all should have known that you cross a certain line, you know, Putin will act a certain way. It's just the way he is. It's just how he instinctively works. And, you know, they knew it, and they still decided to push Putin, and it forced Putin to do what he did. And so, you know, if you knew how he reacted, why did you, you know, try to push Ukraine into joining NATO? Or, you know, you have videos of Kamala Harris saying, oh, you know, I think it's good. Or, you know, I think I'm inspired by the Ukrainian president trying to join NATO and stuff like that. Then you instigated Putin to act because, you know, it's just the way he instinctively works. So it doesn't matter which way you look at it. You can also say, well, Putin, you know, it's his fault. He chose this war. You know, why did he attack? It's Ukraine's choice whether they want to join or not. You know, all of that. And it goes deep. It goes deep. You know what I'm saying? You join NATO, you get the weapons. And, you know, location of Ukraine, they put nuclear weapons on Ukraine, there's no protection. You know, on their side, it's like saying you put nuclear weapons in Mexico, America has no protection. That's what the whole Cuban Missile Crisis was all about. So you can go back and forth. All right, you can go back and forth. And so the main thing is you and I as citizens, we cannot control what our governments do, but yet we got to suffer the consequences of our government's actions, which means that the money that we have in our banks can get frozen. Governments can say, I don't like how you have a different point of view from what I want to do. I'm going to freeze your bank account. Or, you know what? I don't have nothing to do with none of this stuff. I just want to live my life, but because my government did something, I have to suffer because now, of these sanctions on our banks. And so you can get hit in so many different ways nowadays with the modern financial system. But there is something that they can't really touch much on is cryptocurrencies. Because if you even if your government gets sanctioned, yeah, the currency is sanctioned. What's linked to the bank is sanctioned, not what you have in your crypto wallet. You can leave the country, put what you have on a hard drive, hard wallet into an exchange, sell what you have to sell, convert it into the fiat currency of the country that you move to, and continue on. And that's probably what you have a lot of Russian oligarchs did. But you also have now, because of that, because of what you see in Canada, because what you see in Russia, you have a lot of people in general, not just the wealthy, but normal people buying into cryptos, rather as Tether. Okay, Tether is a great thing because this is a stable dollar. Or you want to go into Bitcoin or KOK-COIN or other coins. They're buying cryptocurrencies to protect their purchasing power, their wealth. Why? Because governments can freeze your bank accounts for having a different point of view, which is, to me, is kind of like dictatorship. That's just another form of communism. Or you're just a victim of your government's actions. And so that's not even like you did nothing wrong. And you still have to suffer because you don't know what your government's going to do. You really don't know what they're going to do. Nobody expected that, right? Um, except the people who are higher up. And so then this is a good way to protect yourself. Don't get me wrong, I'm a gold and silver guy. I have gold and silver. But also, a good advice is if you're a gold and silver person, maybe jewelry doesn't hurt. Gold chains, gold necklaces, because sometimes now that's expensive. Like, oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna carry gold bars around you? No, I mean, you know how expensive gold is for the average person? No, you don't need to. But you know, let's say you need to cross a border like Ukraine. Ukrainians are trying to leave the country. Well, maybe they might steal their gold coins on where when they're getting inspected. Well, you have a gold chain, gold necklace, gold rings. They're not going to steal that. Maybe they'll take your gold coins, bullions, right? Or silver bars. But if you have jewelry, maybe they'll leave that alone. So that, I mean, that doesn't hurt. I mean, I'm just saying, once again, I'm not your financial advisor. Okay. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Yeah. I have precious metals. All right. I also, and that kind of should let you know what kind of person I am. If I have precious metals, and I'm very, very selective of the type of coins that I will buy, and KOK-COIN is the main one out of all the other ones. That just tells you, you know, how I view KOK-COIN and how much of everything that KOK-COIN is doing. That I really think KOK-COIN is going to survive. Remember when I say survive is you have a lot of crypto currencies that went up and died, right? You had a lot of companies trying to make a fortune out of blockchain, and a lot of them failed and they're worth nothing. You know when you at one point you had over 200 car companies, But at the end, only Ford survived because these car companies couldn't survive because at the time you didn't have the infrastructure to support them. You didn't have roads. You didn't have gas stations. You didn't have places to fix up your cars when they had problems. None of that. So obviously, yeah, they're all going to fail, and you're going to have a couple survivors, and that's what you had. Uh, Same thing, you know, with cryptocurrencies, you don't have the infrastructure. Only a few are going to survive. Most of them are going to die out. The way I see KOK-Coin, how it's building the infrastructure, making all the connections with the banks, getting support from the city, the second biggest city in Korea, Busan, connected to Busan Bank, connected to, shopping in Indonesia. They're connected to a U.S. company that helps support the hardware, the infrastructure of blockchain in the States. You just see the progress and all the connections that KOK-Coin is making, and that's why my biggest holding for cryptocurrencies is KOK-Coin. But when you look at the world and you see how governments are using currency to weaponize it. Rather, they weaponize it against their own citizens by blocking, freezing their bank accounts. Rather, they're weaponize it on each other because of decisions of other countries have made, and you want to sanction them, and then now their citizens are suffering. Well, what is a good way to protect yourself? A good way is buying cryptocurrencies. All right. And Tether, if you just want something safe, Tether is safe. Tether is really safe. It's just pegged to the dollar. To me, KOK-Coins really safe. Actually, KOK-Coins is a good investment, in my opinion. I'm not your financial advisor, but is a good way to hedge yourself against your government freezing your bank account or your government doing something that other governments dislike and sanctioning you. All right. So that's why KOK-Coin, to me, cryptocurrencies is a good way to protect yourself from all of that because it's outside government system. Remember, you're buying a currency for the ecosystem within where you use that currency. KOK-Coin has the KOK platform. It has its own ecosystem. That currency is for the platform. Imagine the KOK platform. Imagine this, it is its own country. Imagine that, all right? It has its own ecosystem where you will utilize the currency within the platform. Imagine that it is its own country. Well, the KOK platform, these platforms they have their own currencies, you don't have to worry about them. The whole point of this is to give you freedom where they can't freeze your account on your personal beliefs. Okay? They're not over there trying to, whatever, invade some other country for whatever reason. All right, where they're pissing off other countries to go ahead and sanction them. Like, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Right? Now, yeah, you might have some platforms where it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, all of that, but not with KOK-Coin. Okay? And not with some of these other platforms. And that's why you got to do your due diligence, do your research, get into buy into the right currencies to protect yourselves from government run currencies. All right. Here, I want y'all to listen to this clip from Ray Dalio. Okay. This is a great video. I highly recommend you watch this. I highly recommend you watch the whole thing, but just watch this little part.
And the strength of the empire begins to decline. The decline. The decline comes from internal economic weakness together with internal fighting or costly external fighting or both. Typically, the decline comes gradually and then very suddenly.
Now, here when we look at fiat currencies, okay, when we look at fiat currencies, that's what I see. I see internal fighting. And you have citizens fighting. All right. Oh, he's too rich. I'm too poor. Blah, blah. Their life is too good. My life isn't. You have countries fighting. Oh, you have governments fighting with their citizens. I'm going to freeze your bank account. You have countries fighting. Oh, I'm going to sanction you. I'm going to make your currency go down. Or I'm going to do this to your currency. You have a lot of fighting with currencies. And so now you're going to have a rising power, right? Here in this case, right now, China is a rising
Typically,
power.
the decline comes gradually and then very suddenly.
Right. And you have right now is gradually, suddenly, where people are going, they don't trust the fiat currencies of their governments. Right. And so imagine that the current system is America declining, and then you see that China is rising. Well, imagine that as cryptocurrencies.
When debts become very large,
Okay. And you have debt and all of that with these currencies. They're debt.
and there is an economic downturn,
So imagine an economic downturn on currencies, that the debt, because they're just printing money out of thin air, right? And what are we doing? Well, when you buy into a cryptocurrency, you're using fiat currency and adding value to the cryptocurrency. And that's why cryptocurrencies, the value will go up to the fiat currency as it goes down. Remember, it's like gold. When gold and silver prices go up, why is it going up? They're just a metal. They're not doing anything. It means that the fiat currency's been devalued that much, right? There was a time when gold was just $35 an ounce. Well, dang, that thing is $1,900 an ounce. There was a time when silver was $1.15 an ounce. Well, dang, that's it's over $25 an ounce. You understand? There was a time when Bitcoin was not even $1. Where is it now? So it's 38,000, right? 39,000. Why? Did these things really do anything? No. It just means the dollar devalued, and people, well, in Bitcoin's case, people, they see value to invest in Bitcoin. And so that's what I'm saying is you want to look at right now is a good time where with fiat, the citizens, the average people like you and I are kind of like, this is kind of crazy. They can freeze our bank accounts. We can suffer and get punished for what our governments do. You know, more and more they're trying to control how we spend our money, to also we can suffer for other people's decisions. And a good way now, besides just, gold and silver, or maybe that's why people invest in stocks, right? Um, but once again, stocks can suffer based on what other people do. Same with cryptos, but is a way for you to get out of the system and protect yourself. And so that's what I'm saying, okay? Now, I gotta go. It seems like my one of my sons did something that my wife disagrees with. So maybe I think she's calling me to go check one of my sons. But anyway, so these are some reasons why it's a good time, or not. Well, it is a good time, but also cryptocurrencies like KOK-Coin is a good way to hedge yourself, to protect yourself from, rather it's government tyranny or bad government decisions. All right, so consider that. And I wanted to share that with y'all. Okay, so everyone in the Koch family, please take good care of yourself. All right, take good physical care of yourself, exercise, do all of that. Prepare for, more inflation or shortages. And because we know what's going on and out there in Ukraine, and also pray for them. And even, pray for Russian people, because once again, they didn't start this war, and they're going to take a huge hit from the sanctions. And those are decisions they had nothing to do with. Yeah, so and definitely pray for Ukrainians, because the battle's there. It's in their freaking front yard. It's in their backyard. It's in their neighborhood. So hopefully it all gets settled soon. But yeah, prepare for all of that. Please, take good spiritual care of yourself. All right. Remember, God loves y'all. Take good mental care of yourself, please. Don't be depressed. Don't be sad. I love you. I don't even know you, but I love you. Don't think you're alone. All right. God bless y'all. Coke on.